Welcome to the Systems Thinker Show. This is Season 6, Episode 49, and we are so glad you're here with us today. First off, a huge thank you to our incredible listeners in over 46 countries, with a special shout out to the many students tuning in from China. We're blown away by the support. Now, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're getting value from this, could you please hit that subscribe or follow button? Believe it or not, less than 23% of our listeners are actually subscribed, and every single sub really helps us with the streaming algorithms, which lets us keep bringing you these deep dives into business culture. So please, take a second to subscribe and maybe even share this with 10 friends or colleagues. Today, we're digging into how understanding ideas from things like Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power is absolutely key to improving team performance. And just so you know, this explainer pairs really well with the business playbooks Shift Happens, How to Lead with Purpose and Discipline Every Day, and the brand new Culture by Design, Power by Discipline Volume 1. You can find both on Amazon and other online bookstores pretty much everywhere. All right, let's jump right in. So let's start with this classic line from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. The logic here is, well, brutally simple. If you want to break a group, you don't have to fight every single sheep. No, you just take out the leader, that one central point of gravity, and then you just sit back and watch the chaos as everyone else becomes disoriented, confused, and super easy to control. It's a classic, ruthless strategy of power. Okay, but here's where we're going to completely flip the script. What if we stop looking at this law as a weapon to be used against others and instead use it as a diagnostic tool for our own organizations? What if that very fragility it describes isn't just a threat, but a weakness we can actually fix? Right, so the traditional way to see this is all about going on offense. To take down a rival, you find their shepherd, that one central charismatic person holding it all together, and you neutralize them. By taking out that single point of authority, you create a power vacuum, and the whole group just fractures. So to make this real, let's look at a case study where this law played out perfectly, not because of an attack from the outside, but because of a collapse from within. So picture this. You've got a manufacturing plant that from the outside looks like it's absolutely crushing it. I mean, production is high, they're hitting all their targets, but here's the catch. All of that success was built on a super fragile foundation. One single, incredibly charismatic plant manager. His presence, his personality, he was the system. He made the calls, he set the priorities, he solved all the problems. And then he was gone. Totally unexpected exit. And just like Greene's law predicts, the entire operation just fell apart, almost overnight. Supervisors were literally frozen. They had no idea what to do next. Priorities became a mess, basically driven by whoever was yelling the loudest at that moment. The system, which was really just one person, was completely broken. The sheep had well and truly scattered. Now, this is the moment where leadership made a really critical decision. The gut instinct, right, is to just go find another hero, find another charismatic shepherd to take over. But they saw the deeper problem here. The issue wasn't the absence of a leader, it was the dependency on one. And that single insight led to a fundamental shift in their whole strategy. Instead of searching for another personality to come in and save the day, they decided to build a system that would make them immune to this shepherd paradox. They chose to replace the hero with something way more durable: infrastructure. And that infrastructure has a name. It's called a management operating system, or an MOS. The best way to think of it is like an organizational rulebook that everyone lives by. It's a framework of connected processes, things like meetings, reports, clear decision pathways that embeds authority and accountability right into the daily work. The system itself becomes the shepherd, providing constant, predictable guidance no matter who's in charge on any given day. So what does this actually look like down on the floor? This isn't some abstract theory. It's real stuff. It's tiered daily meetings to review performance. It's big visual boards showing the key performance indicators, the KPIs, for everyone to see all the time. It's crystal clear pathways for escalating problems, so nobody's guessing. Authority is no longer just a gut feeling from a manager. It's built right into the process itself. And this, as you can imagine, triggered a massive cultural reset. Yeah, at first there was some resistance. People were kind of uncomfortable without that one person telling them exactly what to do. But pretty soon, the team started navigating by these shared rules. And you know what's interesting? Employees actually said they felt less anxiety because for the first time, the expectations were perfectly clear. All that chaos was replaced by clarity. So the big question, did it actually work? I mean, it sounds great in theory,
But a system like this has to deliver real, measurable results. Let's take a look at the numbers.
First up, overall equipment effectiveness. That's a huge metric in manufacturing. It shot up by 14%. The machines were running better, more efficiently, and more reliably because a predictable system was managing them, not just one person's divided attention. And this one is even more important. Safety incidents dropped by a massive 22%. It makes sense, right? When processes are clear and predictable, people just make fewer mistakes. This wasn't just about boosting performance. It was about protecting their people. And finally, their schedule adherence improved by 18%. They just became more reliable. They started doing what they said they were going to do, day in and day out. The system created a kind of discipline that a personality on its own never could. And look, this wasn't some isolated one-off case. According to Deloitte, a staggering 86% of manufacturers say leadership dependency is a key risk for them. This shepherding problem, it is everywhere, hiding in plain sight in so many companies. So this all brings us to a really fundamental choice that every single leader has to make when they're trying to build a stable organization. You can build your stability on a charismatic leader, but as we've seen, that power is fragile. You could build it on a coalition of people, which is a bit more stable. Or you can build it on a management operating system. Its power source is infrastructure, which makes it truly durable. It's literally designed to outlast any single individual. And this really brings us full circle. You have Robert Greene, who looks at the shepherd phenomenon with the intent to destabilize a group to gain control. Then you have the MOS philosophy, which is championed by thinkers like Lanier Johnson, who looks at the exact same phenomenon with the intent to stabilize the group for sustained performance. Two completely opposite goals born from the very same observation. When you boil it all down, Robert Greene's law is a powerful, undeniable truth about how groups can break. But a management operating system, that's the engineering that can make that law totally irrelevant to your organization. A culture only really matures when leadership is engineered into its very fabric, not just embodied by one person who could leave at any moment. Which leaves us with one final and I think critical question for you to think about. Look at your own team, your own company. Is your success built on a personality or is it built on a process? Because one of those is fragile and the other is built to last. For any more information, please feel free to reach out through our website at www.karasicinnovations.com. Also, be sure to check out our other podcast, The Continuous Improvement Lab, and find more great content over on our YouTube channel at Karasic Innovations Group. And a huge thank you to our executive producer and founder, Lanier Johnson. Thanks so much for listening.